program. So welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. We are honored and glad to have each and every one of you here. Just to give you also a program overview, we'll have a brief talk on from one representative from the public sector who is right here with us. And then now we can be able to get into the panel discussion that is going to be focused on unlocking Africa's potential. And after the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open the floor to each and every one of you so that now we can have a question and answer session that is going to be more interactive and that is going to be based on the discussions that we are going to have had in this particular panel. So ladies and gentlemen, our first keynote that is going to come and give us the talk, he is a strategist, and also this is a man who runs visions into movements. He is the architect of also impactful corporate strategies, and also he's a man who is driven by empowering Kenya's manufacturers thrive in this particular city and also beyond. A man who has definitely unmatched brilliance and also passion and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd be so kind as to help me welcome the head of corporate marketing and membership at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Mr. Lawrence Jenga. Please, let's help him. Let's appreciate him with a warm round of applause as Mr. Lawrence to give us his talk.
Well, thank you very much. Allow me to ride on the protocols that have already been established, and of course recognize the organizers of the event as well as key stakeholders we have present. I know who will be joining us on stage shortly. Jazz Bedi, who is the chairperson of KEPSA, Dashan Chandaria from Chandaria Industries, Martin Kafafa from Radio Africa, Alex Othiambo, who is a CAM member as well as the CEO of Solutech Limited, representatives from Kenya Invest, various government representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Lawrence Jenga, as has been rightly put, and I'm here in the capacity of representing my CEO, Mr. Tobias Alando, who unfortunately could not make it this morning. And I'll start by saying it's really a great honor to be joining you this morning for the Africa Trade Expo as we seek to connect the world to Africa. Today's event has come at an opportune time where we are the shifting global politics for the 21st century has placed Africa at the center of global strategic developments. This renewed focus stems from a combination of Africa's growing economic potential through its vast natural resources, demographic trends, and its geographical positioning. Here in Kenya, the manufacturing sector is so critical to this country's socio-economic development. The manufacturing sector's contribution to the gross domestic product in the year 2004, which is last year, was placed at 7.3%. The sector's real value added grew by 2.8% in the year 2004. This is compared to 2.2% in the year 2003. The value of manufacturing output in Kenya increased by 4.4% in the year 2024, up from 2.1% similar period in 2023. In terms of contribution to revenue to the government, the sector contributes at least 18% of total government collection, and which is slightly above 360 billion Kenyan shillings, employing close to 370,000 waged employments, which accounts to 11.5% of formal employment in the country, and I dare say this is only second after government. The manufacturing sector, again, contributes about 30% of Kenya's total export commodities. Therefore, the sector's growth has been driven by initiatives such as Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, which seeks to promote local production, value addition, job creation, and economic self-reliance through enhanced consumption of locally produced goods and services. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Despite the manufacturing sector's central role in spurring development, we are yet to fully take advantage of the opportunities that this country is vested with and invest in high potential sectors. Kenya has made significant, is very significant and has immense potential for investments in value addition, such as in agriculture and agro-processing. At the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we are currently implementing the Agriculture for Industry initiative, which we believe is a tide that can lift the fortunes of not only the manufacturing sector, but also other economic sectors. This is through a robust backward integration, as well as forward linkages between agriculture and manufacturing sectors agro-processing. Kenya's textile and apparel sector holds significant economic and development opportunity and is increasingly seen as a key pillar for industrialization, for job creation, and for export diversification. It is also a very strategic component of national initiatives, such as the manufacturing agenda of 20 by 30, in which the country seeks to increase the contribution of manufacturing to the GDP from 7.3% in the year 2024 to 20% by the year 2030. As the most developed pharmaceutical hub in the region, Kenya is well positioned to scale up local manufacturing, reduce dependence on imports, and become regional pharmaceutical production and innovation center. Notably, the government has established industrial park and special economic zone SEZs across the country. Through the county aggregation and industrial park (CAIPs), we hope that the manufacturing sector's expansion across the country will continue. Additionally, local industry is increasingly embracing green growth as the country seeks to industrialize sustainably. While balancing economic development and environmental stewardship and climate resilience, Kenya is a leader in renewable energy and environmental policy in Africa. And now, Kenya is aligning its manufacturing ambitions with green growth strategies to ensure long-term competitiveness, low carbon development, and inclusive job creation. At the association, we recognize that local and global partnerships are a key strategic approach for Kenya and other emerging economies to accelerate industrialization, technology transfer, and inclusive economic development. These partnerships between domestic stakeholders and international investors, institutions, and government unlock capital, expertise, market, and innovation, enabling local businesses and sectors to scale sustainably and competitively. Through such partnerships, we are better positioned to take advantage of opportunities under various trade agreements, such as the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, AGOA, Kenya EU, EPA, Kenya UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and African Union Free Trade Area, among many others. We facilitate trade linkages for our members to enhance market access for them. Through these partnerships and development partners, we've supported our members to venture into new markets. Most recently, we partnered with the Trademark Africa to accelerate manufacturing for micro, small, and medium enterprises participation in the AFCFCTA. We continue to engage governments to advocate for predictable policy frameworks within the country to protect and to grow investor interest. Our trade policy, we deal with regional integration, trade facilitation, and sustaining the fight against illicit trade. The next frontier for African manufacturing leadership is built here in Kenya. Investing in Kenya offers a range of strategic advantages across multiple sectors. Kenya is the hub for trade in East and Central Africa with access to over 400 million consumers. Indeed, when you're in Kenya and when you invest in Kenya, you are able to access at least 50% of the global GDP right here in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a diverse economy driven by increasing consumer demand. Kenya is a regional center for innovation hubs and global companies. We also have a very young, vibrant, and highly educated tech-savvy workforce. We have embarked on continuous business reforms to enhance the ease of doing business and position Kenya as the preferred investment destination in the region. KAM, or Kenya Association of Manufacturers, has been actively involved in engagements with the State Department for Investment and the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary on the business reforms agenda. As a country, we have been intentional in establishing institutions to support investments, led by the Government Investment Authority, Can Invest, as well as Special Economic Zones, SEZs, as well as Economic Processing Zone, EPZs. To all potential investors here today, I urge you all to invest in Kenya, to invest in manufacturing. Let us create prosperity for Kenya through sustainable industrialization by manufacturing in Kenya and for Africa. I wish you all a fruitful engagement, and asante sana for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jenga. Please, let's appreciate Mr. Lawrence Jenga one more time with a warm round of applause. I don't know if our technical team has a microphone that is around. I just need to confirm. Technical team, might you have a roaming mic with you? Is it possible? Just give me a thumbs up once you get that roaming mic, even as we continue with this conversation. If you have a roaming mic, then that would be okay. But if all the mics are here, then we totally understand. All right? You can get one, that would be proper. What I just want to achieve is that I know that we've all assembled here and also we are talking to you, but it would be good to also just hear from one or two people what your expectation would be. So I'll let the technical team to just handle that as we go to our next keynote speaker. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a leader who definitely fuses concrete and commerce, and even as the executive chairman of contemporary engineering and 23 years of shaping Kenya's skyline. He does this by moving it from highways to the high rises. And ladies and gentlemen, as the inaugural chairman of the National Construction Authority, he's laying Kenya's regulatory foundation brick by brick. I am honored and privileged, ladies and gentlemen, to bring the nation builder of Kenya's western frontier. Please help me appreciate the man who is reinforcing and forging Nyanza province, Nyanza County's backbone. He is the National Director for Nyanza at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Please help me appreciate with a warm round of applause, Mr. Ken Onditi, as he comes forward. And also, he has the title of the Moran of the Order of the Burning Spear, as awarded by the President of the Republic of Kenya. And as you say in Swahili, makofi tafadhali, welcome Mr. Onditi. Aroka mano wa hinya, karibu sana. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and esteemed business leaders, on behalf of Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I welcome you to Nairobi and Africa Trade Expo 2025. Before I read the speech of Chamber President Dr. Eric Ruto, I would like to say that we thank Ajuman Saif Nairobi and His Holiness Dr. Mufaddal for organizing this gathering. You have chosen Kenya and Nairobi, which is Africa's economic gateway and premier business destination. Today we are going to showcase partnership that will define global commerce. What is Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry? Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is a non-profit making organization which was started in 1965. And we are devolved in 47 counties of Kenya. In Kenya, we have the central government, that is national government, and other 47 counties government, and we are devolved there. So, and we are the network of private sector, linking the private sector and the government. We have Kenya's business ecosystem, which I'll give you the snapshot. Kenya is East Africa's economic powerhouse, with GDP exceeding 115 billion US dollar, the region's largest, most diversified economy. We are the regional financial hub, home to Africa's fourth largest stock exchange. Our banking sector operates across 15 African countries, extending Kenya expertise continent-wide. Kenya leads global innovation. We pioneered the M-Pesa, that is money transaction through the phone, revolutionizing the mobile banking for over 4 billion people worldwide. With 96% mobile money penetration, exceeding US credit card usage. We lead the world's most advanced digital payment ecosystem. Our infrastructure is strategically positioned. Port of Mombasa serves 8 landlocked countries, connecting 400 million consumers. Our standard railway gauge links Kenya to Uganda, Rwanda, and DRC, creating seamless trade corridors. Our manufacturing excellence spans textile, pharmaceutical, and food processing for regional and global markets. Our services sector generates over 20 billion US dollar annually, with 40% from exports, including telecommunication, tourism, logistics, and professional services. We have in Kenya supportive policy and business environment, which will make you invest here. Kenya's offer Africa's most business-friendly environment, consistently ranking among the continent's top investment destination. Our streamlined regulatory framework enables companies to incorporate within 24 hours online. Our legal system based on English common law provides familiar frameworks for international business. We offer competitive tax incentives, including favorable corporate rates, investment deductions, and special economic zone for manufacturing and business and export business. As a member of COMESA, a member of East African Community, and a member of African Continental Free Trade Area, Kenya provides preferential continental market access. We have bilateral investment treaties with over 20 countries, ensuring investor protection and dispute resolution. Our advanced digital infrastructure features widespread G4 and exceeding G5 network supporting digital operations and innovation. I'll mention some few opportunities for trade and investment. Kenya presents compelling opportunities across strategic sectors. Our Silicon Savannah attracts over 300 million US dollar annually in tech investment, partner with Kenya's fintech, agri-tech, and health tech innovators serving regional and global markets. Leverage Kenya's strategic location and skilled labor workforce for manufacturing operations serving 400 million East African consumers, one of the world's fastest growing markets. Our agriculture sector serves global market effectively. Kenya's flowers dominate European markets, while our coffee and tea reach every continent. Infrastructure development offers significant partnership opportunity in digital networks, transportation corridors, renewable energy, and smart cities requiring international expertise. Kenyans provide ideal regional market access through East Africa Community Integrated Customs Union and common market protocols. Continental integration through Africa Continental Free Trade Area creates unprecedented opportunities. The world's largest free trade zone with 1.4 billion consumers and 3.4 US trillion combined GDP. Now, come back to Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. That is the organization I represent. What is our role? Over 6 decades, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has served as Kenya's premier business voice, representing over 15,000 members, contributing 40% of Kenya's GDP. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry provides immediate market access through our extensive member network covering every economic sector. Our research department delivers comprehensive market intelligence, reducing investment risk while identifying the right opportunities. We influence business directly, sitting on a major government economic committees, and shaping business legislation. Your business concern become our advocacy priorities at the highest government level. Our comprehensive services cover company registration, regulatory compliance, market entry, and expansion planning. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry guide international business through every aspect of operating successfully in Kenya. Our networking excellence connects you with potential partners, suppliers, distributors, and customs across East Africa through sector committee. Remember, we are members of, among members in the world, we have 177 chambers. We are among the members. And we are also members of ICC, International Chamber of Commerce. We are also a member of World Chamber Federation. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce facilitates investment through joint ventures, technology transfers, and strategic partnership between international and Kenya businesses. Our training programs ensure local partners have necessary skills for your long-term success. And in conclusion, Africa's moment has arrived with you here. With 70% of our 1.4 billion population under 30, the fastest growing global middle class, and increasing economic integration, Africa represents the world's greatest 21st century business opportunity. Kenya stands ready as your gateway. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce extends this invitation to every business leader present here today. Partner with purpose. We build genuine partnership, creating mutual value and sustainable growth. Scale with strategy, leveraging Kenya's position to develop continental strategies, serving 400 million regional consumers. We innovate with impact. Join our ecosystem developing solutions addressing Africans' challenges while serving global markets. Invest also here with confidence. Utilize Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, 60 years of experience, ensuring your success across Africa. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce commit to bring your trust to bring to your trusted partners, advocate and guide. We will not simply facilitate market entry, we will ensure long-term services. The future of global commerce is being written in Africa. Kenya leads with narrative, and Kenya National Chamber of Commerce ensures your significant and profitable chapter. Your African journey begins in Kenya today, as you've seen and you have experienced. Your success partner is Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And I would end with the African business quote. Africa's true wealth lies not only in its resources, but in the bridges we build through trade, connecting nations, empowering people, and creating prosperity that crosses every border. You are most welcome, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mr. Onditi. We appreciate you, and definitely we are building the bridges of trade. We appreciate that talk, and also representing the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry absolutely well. For the ones who've just joined us, good morning. We're glad and honored to have you here for the panel discussion that is going to be focused on unlocking Africa's potential. But even as we get ready for that, we just want to get a video to get a glimpse of how it was also yesterday. But before we do that, do we have a roaming mic that is already there? If there's anyone who has it, you can just raise it up with me. The roaming mic that we had requested for earlier, it's up there. Fantastic. Now, we just want to go, and he is going to be like a program director that is here. We want to give a mic to just any one of you who was here yesterday. Let me just see by a show of hands, how many have been here with us from day one? All right, fantastic. Let me see the hands going up. Now the young lady is going to be able to take the mic to anyone who has raised up their hand. All right. And we just want to get their feel of what their expectations are on this particular panel discussion on unlocking Africa's potential. If you'd be so kind as just to introduce your name and also the organization you represent, and then you can be able to go for it. Particularly, what is your expectation for this panel discussion? We might not be having a working mic, because as much as we're going to have this discussion, and also we have our leaders that are here who are going to guide us on it, we would also want to hear from the audience. Yes.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Tahir Baldi. I'm representing Maymoon Fishing Tackles. And I've been here from day one. And it's a very amazing turnout and really great exhibitors from all over the world. And from this panel discussion, what I would like to learn is basically how industry leaders in Kenya are scaling up their businesses. So for instance, I'm in the fishing industry, and I would like to understand, like maybe how I can scale up to the entire region in East Africa and the Central Africa from the point of view from industry leaders who have already done that. And what strategies they have used, which we can implement in our business.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. Please, let's appreciate him with a warm round of applause. We would have loved to have just someone else also speak to us, but I know we are going to have a session where we are going to have the question and answer session, and we shall be able to proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we want to go into the panel discussion, but before we do that, we can be able to proceed with the clip. Right, fantastic. Thank you to the technical team. We just also want to give an appreciation to all our sponsors and also all our partners who are here from across the globe. Thank you so much for being here with us. And also, we want to give the audience a glimpse of how fantastic it was yesterday, and also an extension of an encouragement to the delegates who have joined us today to come and join us at the exhibition. And now, ladies and gentlemen, just before we begin our program for the panel discussion, we have a message from the Dawoodi Bora community. And at this point in time, I'd like to call forward Murtaza Just Danwala as he comes forward to represent the community. Let's appreciate him with a warm round of applause as Murtaza Just Danwala comes forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I'll just start by revisiting a few points that Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin Aka had recently spoke about in one of his sermons. Sayyidina spoke about the importance of traveling and exploring for business growth. He spoke about these points elaborating the Arabic word of darib. Sayyidina emphasized that exploration is not limited to just traveling to new areas and going to new places, but exploration has to be done by ideas and innovations through thought. Exploration also needs to be done by learning new technologies and skills. Exploration also has to be seen in a way by connecting to people through emotion and cultures. Exploration is also essential by learning about how people react to things. All these things are important while you are exploring something new. So it is very important that while we are discussing about the potential that Africa has to offer, that we keep in mind all these teachings that Sayyidina has already spoken about. Speaking about Africa, Africa has strongly been promoted by Sayyidina. Our 43rd Sayyidina, Sayyidina Abdali Saifuddin Aka, around 400 years ago, he encouraged the Dawoodi Bohra followers to come towards Africa and explore the potential this country has to offer. Today, the 53rd Sayyidina, Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin, is speaking about the same thing. He is encouraging Mu'mineen to come to this land and explore the potential this land has to offer. It's been around 400 years, and this itself is stating how much potential this land has to offer. So this is one of the key points that we need to keep in mind about learning about what this land has to offer in terms of potential. It is also very important to keep in mind that while we are exploring new ideas, learning new markets, learning about how things are happening in other parts of the world, that we should keep in mind that our roots are very important. Everything has to again be connected to what we believe, our roots, our culture, our thoughts, because that is our foundation. And we as Dawoodi Bohra are very proud to have programs like this event, this Expo, this program that we are today. We hope that this program works as a stepping stone to unlock these potentials this country has to offer. And lastly, I wish everybody the best of luck for everything that you all have traveled here for. And we hope that together we can expand our businesses to this country, to this region, expand our potential here also. And once again, let's all pray. खुदा ताला सैयदना मुफद्दल सैफुद्दीन आका ने उम्र शरीफ ने तारोज़ क़यामत दराज़ ने दराज़ कर जो. शुक्रन जज़ीला.
Thank you, Mr. Machaza, for that. And we appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we want to get into this panel discussion on unlocking Africa's potential. And I know it's a moment that we've all really been waiting for, and we're looking forward to this particular conversation. We want now to start inviting our panelists as they come forward. And our first panelist, ladies and gentlemen, is the most decorated trade ambassador. This is a leader who has been honored twice by Kenyan presidents. President Mwai Kibaki honored him with the Moran on the Order of the Burning Spear. President Uhuru Kenyatta was able to award him the Elder of the Order of the Burning Spear. And he has been crowned also African CEO Awards finalist and CEO of the Year. And he's been awarded a honorary doctorate for revolutionizing the export markets. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the chairman, and I need your patience on this. He is the chairman of the Kenya Exports Promotion and Branding Agency, chairman of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, vice chairman of the East African Business Council, managing director of Bedi Investments Limited, executive director of Fine Spinners Uganda Limited, member of the Young Presidents Organization, member of the UNDP African Influencers for Development Supergroup, member also of the Global Advisory Council, P4G Pioneering Green Partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the decorated and accomplished leader in our country and beyond. Please help me welcome a Titan who stitches the continents together with commerce. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Jaswinder Bedi as he comes forward. Glad and honored to have you here. And our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who leads the Chandaria Industries. He is a disruptor, and he is Africa's youngest ever YPO inductee. Can you get this? Can you imagine, just at 24 years, he's a man who began laying the foundation football catalogs in the UK called 615, can you imagine? And today steers an empire over 3,000 employees, spanning manufacturing, real estate, banking, solar energy across 6 nations. Ladies and gentlemen, he's pioneered Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. He has launched the Chandaria Capital that is able to fuel 15 plus African startups and also backing dreams on the Lion's Den show. Ladies and gentlemen, he has gotten this award of the top 40 under 40 here in Kenya 3 consecutive times, and he's also part of the 100 most influential young Kenyans. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me appreciate the group CEO and the director of Chandaria Industries. This is Dr. Dashan Chandaria as he comes forward. Welcome, Dashan. And our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who has definitely moved from crawling to walking to leading. This is a man who crawled through failures. He is a man who even started a fast food venture that brought him to his knees, to forging East Africa's #1 Salesforce automation empire. He's a man who's bootstrapped the Solutech Limited company in Nairobi's bedseat, and him and his colleagues are now commanding 6,000 plus users across 70 plus giants. And these are the likes of Coca-Cola, Crown Paints, Pwani Oil, and I'm also informed that Chandaria Industries is also his client. Bidco and Abimal is also his client, and just to mention a few. Ladies and gentlemen, from Kenya to 8 nations, Ethiopia, Zambia, just to mention a few. This is a man who has a ruthless ambition and obsession for the clients. From machine learning to plug and play APIs, he is a techie extraordinaire. We heard him also out of 50,000 applications. Alex made it to the top 20 at the semifinals in Egypt. And finally, he was able to represent us by claiming the 3rd position at the top 10 Africa Business Heroes this year at Kigali, Rwanda. Ladies and gentlemen, he's also been awarded the top 40 under 40. Please help me join a man who's able to turn paper invoices into Pan-African power. He is the relentless architect, turning sales chaos into crystal clarity. The CEO of Solutech Limited. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Alex Odhiambo. Right, fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, our next panelist is a man who manages 6 radio stations, the Star Convergence into a unified news powerhouse, manages 500 to 1,000 employees, and is able to inform a nation, turning breaking news into national conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the architect of the airwaves right here in Kenya and beyond, and the guardian of a truth, and his newly ascended leader to Kenya's largest private media conglomerate. Please help me welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the captain of Kenya's information age, the visionary Mr. Martin Kafafa, who is the group CEO at Radio Africa. Welcome, Mr. Kafafa. And also joining our panel, ladies and gentlemen, is the director of Fairdale Properties as a trailblazer in redefining the skyline of a success. Please help me appreciate Mr. Kuzeima as he comes forward to join this particular conversation. Thank you, gentlemen. We're glad and honored to have you here with us. And thank you for making time once again. Thank you also for your patience on the same. And I also feel that I'm sitting with captains of industry here, and I might be the most overdressed here. All right, fantastic. But thank you, Mr. Kafafa, for representing me and making me feel comfortable for coming in the suit. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. So we'd like to probably just start off the conversation with Mr. Bedi, and I will just go straight into it. The first area of discussion is on business growth, journeys, and also scaling decisions. As we heard also from the audience, they also just wanted to find out on this particular conversation. So we start with your business growth story. What is the key turning point when you realize you needed to scale or also diversify? I guess I believe that most of us find ourselves like in a plateau, but what was the anchor that maybe made you feel like we need to diversify this?
Thank you very much, and I think it's a very pertinent question. And good morning to you all. I think for me, that moment of change in my personal business was with the introduction of Mitumba into Kenya. This is the early 90s. You're running a factory and you're competing with something that's totally free and is going to compete with you, and it's making its way on our shores. And that's the point. I remember I went to Zambia, it was 1987, and I went to a PTA trade fair. At that time it was called Comesa. And I told my father, I said, you know what, I'm going to Zambia for this Expo. And he looked at me and he said, you mad, we are fully booked, we are so busy. I said, you can't see the tsunami coming, and either you export or you perish. That was my mantra in those days, and true to God, that worked for me. In 2025, we're one of the largest exporters out of Kenya. Kenya is exporting $600 million of apparel to the US. But imagine if I hadn't made that change on that day. I think like all the other textile industries, I would have also been toast, and that would have been the end of our business empire, which is over 50 years old. Thank you.
Right, fantastic. Thank you for that, and thank you for the learnings on that. And also, let's hear from Mr. Dr. Chandaria, the same on that. At what point do you feel like you need to probably diversify and maybe just to keep the wheel moving and making sure that we are keeping in step with innovation? What was the trigger? What did you see as a leader here?
It was a great question. I think, you know, when you have the entrepreneurial spirit within you, you see opportunity everywhere around you, and you realize that if you're not going to take up that opportunity, somebody else will, and that starts to also foster the competitive spirit within you. And you know, as just mentioned, from an early stage, if you're able to identify that you need to diversify the risk. Today, this industry is good, the business is good, but what happens if there is a shock to that industry? What happens if there is an unforeseen event, right? You need to have other businesses that you can look at, rely on, expand. And I think when you sit down and say, I want to be good at business, I want to be a good entrepreneur, I want to build something that's sustainable for the generations to come, you will find that the next generations also have differing interests. Okay, so when I joined the group in 2009, when I came back from London, I was in management consulting, really interesting career path. But when I came back, you find that not everything that was in the business was fully appealing to me. You had other areas that you wanted to grow and look into. And I think for a lot of us young leaders here who have young families now growing up, we've been through the journey. It's very important to build something that's sustainable in terms of if you want to keep your family as a family business, you
Right.
need to build something that appeals to everybody. It has space for anybody's interests to come in. The one other point I would just like to talk about here is in Africa, we need to stop thinking only about survival. We need to really think now about innovation, scale, sustainability. That's the only way we will be on the offensive. You often hear the terms to say the best way of defense is offense. And we really need to start getting out to say, okay, we have the ability. We've proven it in Kenya and East Africa that we can do this. How can we go to the rest of Africa? And most important, I think, for family businesses is how to get away from reliance on one person. We were just talking about this in the holding room actually before we came out here. You need to move, if you really want to scale, if you want to have a business that can last generations, you need to get away from the reliance on one person. Yes, we're operating in emerging markets, and as you do as in emerging markets, you have to keep yourself focused, and you need to track the important elements of the business. I mean, Just was talking to us in the holding room about the pulse of the business. Something my father said to me 20 years ago. If you lose the pulse of the business, you will lose the business and the business will start owning you. So how do you build sustainability, good governance to get away from individual dependence?
All right. Was there any compromise when it comes to cost? There, especially when it comes to just also reinventing, was there probably, if I would say, a temptation to make sure that you can be able to provide maybe a lower cost so that you can be able to get market penetration? Was there any occurrence on that in terms of diversifying?
Absolutely. When you look at our market dynamics and you say that, look, 80% of the population belongs to the real mass, what we call the bottom of the pyramid, your addressable market is so big at the bottom of the pyramid that anything you do, you start with that, because there is always what you call your base, your foundation, the layer that helps you propel into other sectors. But you have to start with something that addresses 80% of the market before you can even start addressing the balance 20%. So it's always there, but I think for longevity now, and especially to be relevant across the continent and beyond, we have to start thinking about quality, sustainability, brand, and brand equity. That really is the future. The reason you pay, I'll just take a quick minute to talk about it. The reason you pay a 20% premium to buy an Apple phone is brand and brand equity, nothing else.
100%.
It's not that it functions differently to any other phone that anybody else has.
I like what you said about quality and also the value, and also on that particular conversation. Thank you for that. Let me bring it to Mr. Alex Odhiambo. I know he is a techie. And also, Mr. Alex, I just want to find out what was your turning point when you realized that you need to scale your business? And also probably when it comes to expansion, did you see a need? Did you create the need? Was there an opportunity that you saw and you decided to run with it? I know you have a fantastic journey, but just tell us about it. What was the trigger?
Thank you. So honestly, actually, when we began, it was what Darshan is just talking about, survival. That is all we were thinking about. That is 11 years ago when we started Solutech. But the more you continue doing this, the more you uncover the kind of potential that is in what you are doing. And when you're building quality products, it attracts more, it gets to attract more and more customers, and it opens up your eyes to what potentials you have. And again, when now you keep revising your mission to be bigger than just survival for yourself, and get into wanting to create more and more jobs and impacting businesses, and listening to how what we are doing is impacting and growing other businesses, you get to realize that you have no choice but make that impact bigger. And that means scale. You need to get what you're doing to more and more people, not just within the country, but also other countries in Africa, because we are very lucky in the tech industry, especially in Kenya, that when something works out very well here and is bringing great value to businesses, it's definite that you're able to extend it into other countries. Yeah. So just the growth of our mission is what has led us to want to expand more and more.
All right, fantastic. And I like how you started off and saying by survival, you know. And one of the things when I look at your story, it reminds me that we need to fail fast and move forward, isn't it?
Correct.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for Alex for that. Let me bring it to Mr. Martin Kafafa. If you could be able just to share with us with your business story, all right, business growth story, and what was the turning point when you realized you needed to scale or probably diversify?
For us, it was the realization that Africa's greatest resource does not lie in land or in oil or minerals. Africa's greatest resource is the African brain. It's all these untold stories about Africa. And we're not just storytelling, we are shaping Africa's economic future. And so for us, those were the fundamentals that made us decide to go into media, not just to entertain, but to explain the African narrative, the African journey, the African potential, and economic successes and growth. We realized that many media houses were simply consumers of foreign content, okay? And we decided we're going to be a step different. We want to tell stories that lift and show the impact of Africa, stories such as, success stories such as M-Pesa. And so upon that realization, we are very careful and deliberate in our narrative because we know that just one story can change a family, a community, and a whole generation.
All right, fantastic. I like how you said you started sharing the story of Africa, because I know myself and many millennials in the room, we grew up with the international media, and definitely we also tried to mimic them by the shows that we were watching also out there personally, and you can tell by my frame, I wanted to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I like the way now you're sharing the story on that. Fantastic. And it's good to see. Even Alex, I know in every supermarket, you're sharing your story. Every supermarket in Africa, in Kenya actually, has your solution. All right, at home, Mr. Chandaria, I have like all your products in the house, all right? Let's bring it back to Kuz, okay? And then I can come to Mr. Bedi, who will guide us on the expansion. Kuz, over to you.
Yeah, so I'm basically a last-minute addition to this panel. We're expecting more people. But anyhow, so I just want to give you a brief of my journey and how I entered the family business. First of all, honestly speaking, sitting amongst all these people, I don't think I'm qualified to be here yet, but one day, and there are many more qualified people in the audience who should be here. But I'll just give you a brief of why I believe in Africa's potential. And this stems from actually what His Holiness had told my dad. So this is a story that came to light very recently to me. I was just having a discussion with my dad, and I after studying in high school, we usually ask His Holiness where we should go and study. That's a custom and tradition in the Bora families. So I wanted to go to London. I had applied to Imperial. I got in Imperial. So I was excited to go, and Abba went and asked His Holiness. At that time, it was the previous His Holiness that should I get Raza to go, and yeah, I got the Raza and everything. But Ali Kadir Mola, the current His Holiness, told my dad, look, I'm allowing you to send these kids to UK or US or Europe, wherever it is, but you have to guarantee and promise me that they're going to come back to Africa. And that's what he told us when we went. And not during my duration, my dad had told me that you have to come back or anything. None of these things had been mentioned. This thing came to light just recently. But he created that system where as an individual, as a family, because we're in a family business, as a family member, I could join the business. And that's something very important that family businesses need to understand. That you need to create an environment where your children want to join the business. So that's my journey. I entered the family business. I started in the furniture business under my uncle. And then over time, we have grown into properties. We moved to Nairobi, and alhamdulillah, we have grown quite a bit. And as with my brothers and my dad, we are still seeing the potential Africa. A lot of things that you're asking about diversity and things, these are the questions that we are trying to answer. And I'm sure most of the audience is looking to answer those questions as well.
All right, fantastic. And I like the way you're also encouraging them to come back to Africa, come back to Kenya.
Yeah, definitely.
As much as there's that motivation to go out there. Thank you for representing the border community. And now we just want to go to the next part of the conversation, which is on challenges faced during scaling. Mr. Bedi, we definitely have so many learnings from you when it comes to expansion, when it comes to growth, and also when it comes to just expanding the operations. But can you probably share one significant hurdle that probably you faced while you were expanding the operations, be it finance, market entry, logistics? If one out of there, if one hurdle or probably a few hurdles, and how you are able to navigate them, so that also us, by the time we leave in the auditorium, we can be able to go out there and navigate those hurdles. Mr. Bedi.
Thank you. I think in business there's no one hurdle. There are many hurdles, and there are hurdles every day. And I don't think you need to look at a hurdle as a setback, but you need to look at it as an opportunity. And for me, that one opportunity which I thought when the entire world was on lockdown in the year 2020 with COVID and the pandemic that hit all of us, that was the year that I made the biggest growth in my business, employed more people. When the whole world was shutting down, I was growing. And I looked at it as an opportunity, and I said, wow, what can I do in this ecosystem? I can't export anymore. My factory is shutting down, but I need to do something which I will be relevant, stay employed, keep my people employed, and still grow the business. So I actually transformed my entire factory, both in Kampala and in Nakuru, to making PPEs. I became the largest supplier of PPE to Kenya government, to Uganda government, and in the region. I remember it was 13th of March 2020 when President Kenyatta called me. He said, Bedi, I need your help. Exact words. I said, Your Excellency, what are you talking about? He says, can you make us PPE? I said, what is PPE? I didn't even know what PPE was, to be very honest. I was in the clothing business. And I said, anyway, Your Excellency, give me 10 days, let me come back to you. True to God, I didn't sleep for 10 days. I did research, innovation, development in the factory, converted the entire factory into making PPE. I took this prototype to my minister at that time, and then to Kenya Bureau of Standard got it approved, and then took it to the Ministry of Health. And that was it. My entire business had transformed. I was no longer in the clothing business, but I was in the business of protecting livelihoods and life against the pandemic. So it was a transformative motive for me personally. But if you look at it in a larger scale, and I am diverting away from the subject a little bit, I think a lot has been said on the Africa potential. I don't know how many people in this room know that in 25 years from today, 1 in 4 people on planet Earth will be African. That is 25% of the world's population. And with a demographic age of 19, that is scary, and it's a great opportunity at the same time. So if we don't nurture our youth well, we have a bulging population in Kenya, we have a bulging population on the continent. If we don't nurture our youth well, we're going to have the world's biggest destructive society. We are noticing the cracks already, also in Kenya with the Gen Zs. But if we nurture our youth correctly, we will create the world's biggest productive society. I just wanted to pull that out in there, that we have a serious opportunity on the continent because of our youth. It's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Bedi, and also the notion to the young people. Definitely, if we can, let's appreciate him with a warm round of applause. Absolutely fantastic how you were able to take that challenge during the COVID era and you turned it into an opportunity. And then also, I love what you said about leaving that impact to the people and helping people. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chandaria, what would be your take also on some of the challenges? Mr. Pedi was rightful to tell us it's not a single challenge. There are many hurdles that we also face every day. But probably you can share with us some hurdles that you have experienced and also how you were able to navigate it probably to become an opportunity. Yes.
The first thing I faced as a young person coming into a business that had been established for a number of years, had a legacy, had, let's call it a culture, was this is the way we do things, and we've done it for 20 years before you, why shall we start to change now? Okay? I mean, and I think a lot of young people here in the crowd, you know, who've gone into family businesses that exist will find that there is a way of doing things, okay? And when you try to move too quickly to change that system up, you become very unpopular. You become the son of the owner who is spoiled, who has been educated overseas, is now come to try and teach us what he thinks or she thinks we don't know, okay? What I learned from that, it was one of the biggest learnings I had, and you know, I carry it with me every day. You have to win the respect of people, okay? It's hard, it's tough. You have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to agree, you have to accept that you will be seen very differently because you get up every day to push. You get up every day to make a difference, right? You get up every day to improve. And that makes you pretty unpopular with people who just get up every day to live their lives 8 to 5, finish and go to bed. When you win the trust of people, and I'll give you a specific example in our business, but when you win the trust of people, you are able to motivate teams to agree with what you want to do, to brainstorm along the way you want to think, and move in the direction you want to. I joined our business in 2009, having worked for 2 years outside the family in London. And a year into the business, I noticed an opportunity to say, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of it was very driven by cost and being price effective. But I said, you know what, there is a segment of the market that will pay you more if we create better quality, if we create a certain level of a product. And I changed one of our products to say, look, we should increase the price 20% because we're improving the quality from a cost perspective by 30%. Let's try and do it. I had so much resistance to say, we've never done this. This is absolutely a recipe for failure. And after 2 years, when we were able to, and it's actually, very specifically, I can talk, it's actually the Velvex toilet tissue, right, that we know today as a symbol of premium quality, right? We had to really move and import different components, buy different local components, to actually make this product premium and charge 20% more. But after 2 years, when it actually worked, everybody said, actually, you know what? You did know what you were talking about a little bit. So from nothing, at least I got to 50% confidence level, with them. And that's one of the challenges. The other challenge that I would like to also talk about is ourselves. We ourselves, when we feel that we are limited by the capability, okay? I come from a manufacturing industrial background. To set up to be the first family in Africa to set up a venture capital fund, was a dream. But when I, tried to build the building blocks, the family was willing to listen. They were willing to understand what you were willing to do. But I realized the biggest limitation was within me to say, can I really do this, right?
Right.
There's nobody who's investing, formally in startups. There's nobody who has formalized it. And why is that? So you find you're alone in a sector, the first player, you're the first mover, and you have to learn a lot yourself. But what that taught me is when you take the first step, okay, no matter how big the challenge in front of you, you will learn along the way. You don't have to be 100% on day one. You don't need to know. And I think a lot of people here, a lot of people in the room will agree with this. Today we are still learning. As market leaders, many of us, on the panel and many in the crowd, as market leaders in our industry, we are still learning.
Right.
But the important thing is be bold to take the first step, even if nobody else is doing it. But don't be limited by your own thoughts. You can do it, right? I mean, every great thing on this earth was born by a first step, by somebody moving out of their comfort zone and believing they can go beyond their limits.
Right, right. And I love what you said. Like, it's more of like just failing forward and also making sure that you can be able to learn as much as possible and earn the trust. But did your leadership change? And I know I'll just briefly bring it back to Betty, then I come to Alex. Even when you are just reinventing and also handling all the challenges, did your leadership structure change by any chance? We'll start with you and then we'll go to, I want to hear from Mr. Betty, especially when he got the call from the president. Did he hire new managers or did the managers become directors? But let me start with you, Mr. Deshan. Did the leadership change? With this particular journey that you're talking about, did you reinvent roles in the organization? Did you get new people? You know.
So what you will find, and I'd like to talk about my father's generation in particular. Very hardworking, very successful, but very also attached to the business, right? And they always have that bug in their minds to say we have to detach.
Yes.
But actually doing it is very hard. And you can imagine, right? This is like your child, right? You're emotionally attached to this business you've created.
Right.
So it's a transition that I think you have to walk through with two generations, trying to understand each other. And obviously it causes friction. But when you're saying the CFO who has been there for 30 years is now not aligned to the business model you're trying to create, is not aligned to a dynamic, fresh organization that you're trying to build with a lot of changes and improvements. It's a very tough discussion, but it's a discussion you must have. It's a discussion you must push and fight for in the organization if you really want to make a difference.
All right.
I think every young person here will say that yes, there's a lot of challenges they've had, but leadership has had to either you change the people or you change the mindset, right? It's one or the other, right?
Right.
And in that model, obviously, you'll have some casualties of people, and you will have to go through a very painstaking exercise of saying, this is the new norm in the business. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. And there might be casualties of progress. Mr. Betty, let us hear from you. Did you, by any chance, let's use the example that you've rightly shared, did you change your organization structure, especially when you're coming to now this particular new product? It was new to you on the phone call. Did you change your team?
No, actually, there is a lot of hidden talent in every one of us. We just don't realize it until you're challenged whether you have that hidden talent within you. And like Darshan said, there are mindsets.
Right.
It's easy to change a mindset, but it's very difficult to change a set mind.
Ooh.
So you need to ask yourself who in your team has got a mindset and who in your team has got a set mind. The set mind you put aside because they're not going to change. Mindset is easy to change. We can talk to them. I mean, the truth of the matter is, on that day, on March 13th, when I got that call, right, it was a discussion that I need to have with myself as well. For me also, I've never done this before. And I'm told to make PPE, and I said to the president, what is PPE? I didn't even know what PPE was. And he says, Betty, our medics are exposed. We can't buy from India, we can't buy from China, we can't buy from Turkey. Everybody is now looking for themselves. The world has gone selfish. That the health agenda is greater than ours, and we need to protect our border posts, immigration, customs, all that, because it came to us. We didn't go to COVID. COVID came to us.
Yes.
So we had to change ourselves and to think differently. But had I just told him on that day, and it starts from the top, had I just told him, no, we don't make PPE, we don't know what it is. Thank you, Mr. President, look for somebody else. The company would, it had already stalled. And I'll give you another example. I'm also the chairman of Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. During that period, and Kenya's largest export is flowers and fresh produce and vegetables, horticulture, floriculture business. And our business at that time was $6 billion export.
Wow.
So for 3 months, when the flight shut down in the middle of March, and they opened in October, September, imagine we pruned down our flower farms in Kenya, all of them, because we couldn't export. There were no flights leaving. The whole country was shut down. The whole world was on lockdown. We couldn't export our vegetables, nothing, because that's all fresh produce. So when I did the maths and I said our average export is $6 billion, 3 months of no business, 4 months of no business means we're going to lose 25% of our revenue. So I gave a warning to government, being the chair. I said, this year if we hit $4.5 billion, we will be very, very lucky, because that lockdown happened across the world. Everybody lost business. To my total surprise, and this is a true story, you can check it out, Kenya is a very resilient economy. Kenyans are very resilient. We are all very resilient sitting in this room. Our export figures for year 2020 went up by 6.7%. And I asked myself, how? 3 months we did zero business. How is it our exports have gone up and the whole world has gone down? And when I started doing the why analysis on why, what happened, what went right, most people do a discussion what went wrong. I was doing a discussion what went right for Kenya. I realized one commodity carried the day, and that one commodity was tea. And I said, why tea? And I looked at the whole world and I said, yes, when the whole world is on lockdown, everybody's sitting at home. When everybody's sitting at home, what do? They drink
Drinking
more
cup
tea.
of tea, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Betty, you definitely have the Midas touch. Midas touch, absolutely amazing on that. But also there is something that you have just mentioned that is definitely for the technical team, that is hashtag worthy, that we need to take out on the social media, that you can be able to change your mindset, but you cannot change a set mind. And identifying the team that actually has people that you can change the mindset and also a set mind. Absolutely fantastic. Mr. Alex, let's bring it to you. If there's one gentleman who has been able to overcome the hurdles, young people, this is where I can be able to tell you, lend me your ears. How did you overcome these challenges and also turn them into opportunities? All right?
All right. Thank you. Yeah, so I think in the audience today, there are people like me. And what do I mean? I come from a family where we don't start businesses. You work very hard, and growing up, you want to be a doctor or an engineer. Back then, being a teacher was really, really something. In Luo, we call teachers japunj. Yeah, or you become a lawyer. We don't start businesses. And when I say this is, even 3-4 years down the line, when we had started Solutech, my dad kept sending me job applications on the newspapers. Yeah, so when I talk about hurdles, that's like a foundation of it. Mindset, first of all, where I come from. I was a bit lucky or unlucky when I finished my computer science degree. I was lucky to get a job, but soon after, 6 months, in my first job, we never received any salaries, and we had to figure out how to survive. And as a young man in one bedroom in Roysambu, after getting a good job, you have to figure out how you can do websites here and there to make things happen. And when things can't move, as Betty is mentioning, the mindset of resilience of Kenyans, I think it kicks in. There's a certain DNA that Kenyans in general have, but when you're an entrepreneur, you wear it properly. Yeah, so there are few challenges that we went through, but I'll mention one. Playing in the technology sector, and not just technology sector, but as an enterprise software company. The first biggest hurdle you will face is trust. You are another Kenyan company, few young men from the university. You are coming to Chandaria and you're saying, hey, Dashan, I can help you figure out managing your sales force and give you data that will help you make informed decisions. This is Chandaria and this is you, or this is Bidco. Navigating that was very difficult. I always say that we are 10 years now, 11, this is our 11th year, but it's been like 5 years, because the first 5 were to figure out trust and being able to take any deal so that you can prove that you can do it. And luckily, we've been able to do that. And something else I'll mention as a hurdle that I had I'm a computer scientist and you've just gotten into doing business. You've not gone to business school. So every single hurdle you get, you pay school fees for it. You get to learn. Yeah, so as you go by and by, in terms of entrepreneurship, you have to be ready to adapt and learn. Every challenge that comes to you, you ask yourself, what lesson are you getting from this? How do you get to change not just the business very quickly, but as an individual? Yeah. And sometimes I tell this to a lot of my CEO friends, that I feel like I've been CEO for 3 years. Because that's when I joined a program called Stanford Seed, where now it's like an MBA for the whole organization. Now helping you align the lessons you've gotten running the business just from intuition to now the real business itself. Now, later I got an executive coach who now is moving you from being a founder to CEO, which changes things. It's an experience that sort of takes you through a furnace. And for you to be a good entrepreneur and to scale a business to where we've taken it to, you have to keep evolving. Yeah.
It's quite fascinating. Thank you so much, Mr. Alex. I'm totally inspired. And I can resonate with what you started on when you were saying when you started off your company and you were getting job applications. I was also, when I started emceeing, I would still also get job applications from my parents because they would think that I would just hold a mic and crack jokes and I'm not seated in an office. But one thing that you have said that is fundamental, especially when it comes to building trust, there is a journey of patience that you have really, really rightfully said. So we all need to be patient and, as they say, trust the process. And then I absolutely love what you said about having a mentor and a coach. So the mentors that we have, definitely to the audience that we're here, these are mentors that we can be able to follow. Mr. Kafafa, thank you so much for that, Alex. Mr. Kafafa, representing the media, tell us probably some of the challenges that you faced and how you were able to navigate that also.
Thanks. For me, the biggest challenge that we faced as a media house was confronting this animal called digital. Digital came in and it disrupted our businesses overnight. I mean, previously, you waited to hear or watch the 9 o'clock news to see what happened during the day. But right now, thanks to digital and social media, something happens and it's on somebody's WhatsApp, okay? Most people, I think, if you ask me, newspapers will be irrelevant in the next 3-4 years, unless for the purpose of curating history and formal publications and notices. But media won't be the way it'll be run. So this is what we did to find our way out of that challenge. A very interesting story. We created a department called Innovation. And their job, as a CEO, there's the usual meetings that you have. You want to meet the finance team, they tell you you're overdrawn. You want to meet the HR team, and they tell you about compliance and legislation. You want to meet engineering, boring stuff, very boring stuff. When you meet a department called Innovation, you realize that the future of the company belongs to those people. Now, in our innovation department, the oldest person, I think, is maybe 26 years. They're all, and sometimes when they come to work, they lock themselves in a room and you ask them, what are you doing? And they tell you, they're thinking. Thinking from 8 to 5, and they tell you, yeah, we are techies, that's how we do our work. But guess what? When you allow them those spaces, guess what they've come up with? They have managed to develop apps in-house that we literally use to drive our business. For example, one developed previously, you'd actually depend on phone calls or 2-3 day reports to be told, oh, your transmitter in Mombasa is down, or there's no diesel in Eldoret. But these young people in the innovation department just came up with an app that gives you a screenshot, real time, of all 160 transmitters around the country. And that's just because you allowed them the free spaces to think. So going forward, I decided as CEO, I'm sorry, I'm never ever going to employ anybody who's above 40. Because it's too, I mean, you have to be digital. And these young people, the future belongs to them. Just backing it statistically, 60% of Africa, 60% of Africa's population is 25 years and below. So if you're not empowering these young people, how do you think you're going to digitize your business? They have to be the most important people in your company to grow. And for me, I have seen that challenge. We've gone 3/4 digital. Our digital sites are huge. I mean, sites like Mpasho. Then just completely digitalizing our previously analog assets. We're now making sure that we're in all those digital and social media spaces. If we remain the way we were, without investing in innovation and digital, we would have shut down by now.
Right, fantastic, and I absolutely agree with you on that. And also, thank you. It's good to also hear that definitely the young people are the future, but also technology has changed the game, and I love the way that you're also working closely with the innovation team. Fantastic. Mr. Kuz, if you'd be so kind as to just tell us some of the hurdles that you've been able to experience and how you were able to navigate that.
Hello? Yeah, so I think one of the challenges, and that's a lesson to all of us, is that that I faced is when I came to the business, I came into when I joined the properties business, by nature I'm an introvert. That's my nature. I like being alone, I like reading my books and things like that. That's my nature, actually, yeah. Can you imagine? But it shouldn't stop you. And that's what I was afraid of. Will I be able to go, because the properties business is a one-on-one business. You have to talk to the person across. You're selling something that is $250,000 or something like that. So getting out of that comfort zone was a challenge that I felt, but I realized how important that is. I mean, that's sitting across people, talking to people is where you learn. And that's why we organize such events and things like that, where you sit across people, learn from them, and try to implement that. In fact, I want to diversify a bit. One of the questions I have for Darshan is here. I mean, we are in the stage of a business where we want to diversify now. But how important is it to remain focused on your core business and then think of diversifying? I mean, that's a challenge that currently we're facing in our business. How important is it that you remain focused, and how big do you have to grow your core business before you diversify? Sorry.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that, Kuz. Please, Mr. Dr. Chandaria, if you'd be so kind as to take it.
It's a great question, and I think there's two ways to look at this, right? There is the theoretical way, the way that business books teach us, and then there's the way, the entrepreneur's bug, the gut feeling, right? I've experienced it like you have now as well. We're a very diversified group now in multiple different businesses. What I can tell you, and the way we've looked at it is, I'm very connected to the core business still, okay? It is what I spend 80% of my time doing every day. It is the cash cow, it's the golden goose that helps you, and we should never get away from that. And I think the heritage of, such a business, the brand that's built, the equity that's built, helps you to continue being successful. What I have tried to do is shape the DNA of the different businesses we've gone into, okay? And then put good teams in there so you don't have to be as involved. And as I think we'll all agree here today, the ability to really scale, and I talked about this, right from the beginning, is to detach an individual personality from a business. And I think just directly to answer your question is, I'm a big supporter of diversification. I think it's very important for sustainability. I think it's very important, as you also touched on and I talked about earlier, to make the business attractive to your children, to have a breadth of businesses to say that everyone can fit in and there's something interesting for everyone to do. But the core remains the core, and I think you have an opportunity with the diversification to shape it from day one on how you want a business to be run from a DNA strategy and sustainability perspective. I hope that answers the question.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
And this question comes to us a lot. I mean, when we're sitting across, and a lot of people come to us for advice and how to grow businesses and things like that. And that's what we discuss to people. And what Darshan said, 80% of your time still needs to be placed on your core business. Right now, the trend is there's so many different things just coming along. It's not important to just jump along in every train. Focus on your core business, grow that core business, and then allocate enough time or 20% of your time towards businesses which can grow or have potential to grow. I think that's an important lesson for all of us, especially the youngsters. Because we come into family businesses and we always think about diversifying. But first, I believe that try growing your core business.
All right, fantastic.
If I can just
Please.
quickly add to just what Kusima said. The very important point, I think there's a lot of distractions in today's world, right? You get a proposal, it looks very interesting. Before you know it, you're spending, you spend a total of 16 hours. And then by the end of it, you realize, actually, you know what? It's not that great, or I don't think I have the time to do it. And then that 16 hours of, productive, strategic time away from your core business or what you have existing. So I think very important not to get distracted, by all these things being thrown at us.
Right, fantastic. Thank you for that, Dr. Darshan, and also Kuz for that. Definitely, we will not be distracted. I just want to coin two things together as we bring it back to Mr. Betty, especially for those who we want to be able to go to the cross-border expansion, all right? We are here, we want to go into another country. What are the practical lessons probably that we can be able to learn when entering a new market, and also tying that also with a brand? How do we make our brand to be the most visible brand in that particular new market that I'm getting into? Where do we start? Alliances, partnerships, what do we do?
Thank you. I think it's a great question. Actually, they probably don't teach you this in business school, but it's a two-liner that I would like to share. And the two things you need to remember in life. One is size of pie, and the other one is slice of pie. So whichever market you want to go to and whichever sector you want to play in, most important discussion you need to have with yourself. What is the size of that pie? And what slice of that pie do you want? Once you know the two things, then you can have a back of the envelope business plan, and it will not take you more than 10 minutes to actually say, this is where I want to be. So you talked specifically about what do you do when you want to go in the continent or in the region and expansion. And to me, it's simple. I mean, what are we in Kenya, right? We're a $130 billion economy. Our population is 57 million. Our per capita income is just over $2,000. Let's look at East Africa. East Africa has 8 countries, 310 million people, $330 billion economy size, combined GDP. And then you look at the continent, 55 countries, 1.4 billion people, $3.5 trillion economy. And you really don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that, look, the markets are opening up. The 55 countries are truly going to be the world's biggest FTA. We've already signed, we've ratified, we've agreed on 82% of the book. So it's very important for you to know who's going to take your lunch if you're not careful. And I was talking in the holding room with Darshan, and I said to him, 26 countries in East, Central, and Southern Africa. There's COMESA, EAC, and SADC. We've already signed the TFTA, the Tripartite Free Trade Agreement. In that TFTA, that means 660 million people can trade duty-free already, right? 67% of trade has already moved into zero-rated. And you need to start thinking, yes, you have a common external tariff in East Africa. It will protect you to the degree of processing. But what do you do with, say, a country like Egypt, which is part of COMESA, and so is Libya now? If they start exporting duty-free into your territory and your protection in that space is 25% or 10%. So you need to be on top of the game. You really need to know your product. And I look at life in 5 KYCs. My first KYC, of course, is we all talk about know your customer, right? It's important, your first KYC. Your second KYC is know your competitor, because he's the one who's going to take your lunch away. So know your competitor. Your third one is know your country. You know, which country are you doing business in, and what is the ecosystem of that country. And the fourth one is know your county, because your county will determine whether you have that domestic raw material, yes or no. And most important, know your consumer. And the world is changing at such a pace. It's no longer B2B, right? Business to business. It's now B2C. And with these digital phones that we have here, we can transact with anywhere in the world. You just need to know your customer. So I don't think it's that difficult, but you need to think it through. If you don't think it through, you could very quickly, somebody will take your lunch away and you won't even realize it. Because in this fast moving digital world, you can make or break in a second. So I think there's huge opportunities on the continent right now.
Right.
And there are huge opportunities in the world. What we've seen, and it is now become my pet subject, 60 years of working towards a common rules-based multilateral trading system. 60 years. WTO was formed in 1995, we're in 2025. In 6 months, one man, one person, and I know who you guys know who I'm talking about, changed the entire world.
Yeah.
Everything is about protectionism. It's no longer transformational, it's transactional, it's bilateral. And imagine all that's going on. So we are dismantling globalization, moving into regionalization, moving into localization, and moving into protectionism. So the landscape has changed, and we have a new world trade order. Recognize that order and run your business with that in mind. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Bedi. And also just making sure that, understanding the market that we're getting into, know the size of the pie, slice of the pie. And I like also the way you're bringing up, even when it comes to the partnerships, when you're going into the expansion. Let me bring it also to Dr. Chandaria. We also have, was there also probably a fear when it comes to getting into the new markets? The fear in the sense that one of the things that we see is that there is a Me Too strategy. When you start something, someone else will start the same thing and someone else will open the same thing. Probably you can be able just to guide us. When it comes to the expansion, what are some of the lessons that we can be able to learn from you? Was it culture? Was it, what can we learn as you expand it?
It's a very, very important question that you raised. So and I'd like to tackle this in a slightly different way, right? When you look at the things we like and the things we aspire to have, I talked about the Apple iPhone, but let me talk about a Range Rover. I'm a car fan. I love Land Rover and Range Rover.
Yes.
What is it about a Range Rover that makes you pay double, triple the price of any other car, right? It has heritage, it has authenticity from where it's made, and there is a perception of superiority, right? And for those who know Land Rover's history, out of the UK, every time you drive that Range Rover, you see UK or European engineering marvel. You see luxury, right? It is a perception that you have. So I want to just talk about a couple of examples that I have used this in, okay? The first is Tuco-Kenya. Kuzema's actually wearing the shoes, right? Sorry? Yeah. There is a white trend sneaker, right, amongst young people. Everybody likes a white sneaker. What did we do at Tuco-Kenya? We said, okay, we want to be on trend, but we want to be authentic. If you notice, all our Tuco-Kenya shoes, apparel, clothing, and now, we have stores across all the big malls, right? We're available online. We took the African print and said we want to be authentically African. So there, and Kuzema is one of the flagship, pairs of shoes he's. It's colorful, and it's very African, right? And we sell those shoes at not less than 10,000 shillings here a pair, $75, right? A lot of people say that's the territory of international brands. You're going into Nike, but we have made, if you look at the quality of that shoe and you compare it to a lot of international brands, the quality is superior, right? And those who buy, wear, and continue, or come back to buy another pair and come to buy again, they can feel the quality. So I don't think we should be shy of saying, what is our heritage? What is our culture? Why can't we produce a world-class product, okay? Coming to your question on Me Too's, a lot of people in Nairobi will know, and Kuzema was talking to me about this in the holding room. The paddle sport here has really picked up in Nairobi, okay? We, along with my partners in that business, brought the first paddle club and the first paddle courts to Kenya. And now, just in Nairobi, we're talking about over 70 courts, and it's continuing to expand. Yes, the market, is growing, but it's continuing to expand. The minute we did that, within 1 year, we had 3-4 people copying, right? The Me Too culture.
Yeah.
You need to sit back and say, in the Me Too culture, in the Me Too business environment, what is differentiating you from the rest? And just to talk about paddle, and for those who've been to Paddle Kenya, our locations in Westlands and Gigiri, you will see we have focused very hard on creating a vibe in the environment. You want to be there, right? It's a place you want to be there because your friends are there.
Yeah.
We're creating a culture of amazing food, right? We have an Italian cafe. We have amazing, food. And that's a differentiating factor. Other places, you'll just go and play paddle, right?
Yes.
In the core business as well, I just want to take this back to also Chandaria Industries and just explain how we are making ourselves sort of, more relevant. We want to address the entire market, starting from the mass market to the most premium.
Yeah.
But we are not shy of saying if the market is at 100 shillings for this product, we are happy to be at 200 shillings. Absolutely not. Or if the market is at 100 shillings, we can also launch a product at 50 shillings. I think with the dynamic age of business where we really are in, you have to think outside the box. You have to every day be thinking on your R&D as to how can I be different to everybody else in the market. That is, when you think about any major brand around the world, I mean, when we have a fantastic example in Safaricom and in M-Pesa, what did they do, right, that was so different to make them stand out? Every brand that we aspire to use or do use in our lives today, they made themselves more relevant, more innovative than anybody else. And that's a very powerful message, that I want to give today is you have to be more relevant and you have to be more innovative to be sustainably present for the future.
Fantastic. Beautifully said, relevant and innovative. Thank you so much for those learnings, Dr. Chandaria, Mr. Alex Odhiambo. Yes.
Thank you very much. So both our mission and vision at Solutech are all edged towards Africa. Our mission is to help African businesses make data-driven decisions. And our vision is to be Africa's trusted sales and distribution software partner. So that partner for us is very key when we are thinking about growth. And I encourage many businesses, especially when you're in software, to position themselves as partners. I've seen this among my peers who've started similar businesses where it's transactional. You want, when you engage any business, you're making a kill out of that transaction, and you are not thinking about the journey that you can walk or the potential that is there if you are with these businesses for years and years. I normally measure our success by our first customer. We all know Kenafric Industries was the first customer we had 11 years down the line, partnering, positioning ourselves as an innovation partner. We had a very crappy solution when we started with them, but they gave us the grace of keeping on innovating with them. I think like 2 months ago, we went with, I think there's a gentleman called Aliaska in the Bora, in the community at Pwani Oil. He leads innovation. We've now gone with them into Uganda. And that is how we've positioned ourselves to, in terms of scale. We also have great companies around that we've gone with, not in one, but multiple countries. Companies like Hako, we are in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda with them. And you just start from the Kenya one. And what I've loved about most of the leaders in these organizations, including Dashan here, is that they are pro-African, pro-Kenyan tech
Yes.
even not just Africa, but Kenyan tech.
Yes.
Where we've competed with, we have competition from India, from Europe, but I'm always fascinated when I meet CEO in our market who says that, hey, we actually want to support more and more of tech providers in the country. Yeah. So when we are looking at expansion, we are thinking about the customers we already have, because they are the most powerful. They're the most powerful marketers for you. You do an excellent job and show them that you are there as a partner for growth and not just to bag the big money immediately. They will take you places. A lot of businesses we have in Kenya are expanding. There is very big potential across Africa. And that is what I'd like to encourage more of us young entrepreneurs to look at. Building businesses looking at Africa as a whole, and building them for sustainability, not just satisfaction, like immediate satisfaction, and you kill them very early on.
Love that. It's like more leaving a legacy.
Correct.
100%. Well said. Dr. Dashan, you'd like to chime in?
I would just like to just to add a bit on what Alex said. I think it's very powerful what he said. When we work with each other here in Kenya and East Africa, we are challenging each other to become much better. And I can tell you, when Solutech came and we had all the providers, we didn't shy away from pushing them to say, we want this, we want it. You need to build it, you need to show us how you can customize to our business, right? And when we actually do that, we are helping homegrown businesses become better, become bigger, broaden their expertise, but we're also helping small businesses, startups get into the mainstream of business. And I think it's very important that by supporting each other, we actually build an ecosystem of expertise and improvement in skill set.
Absolutely love that. The collaboration, partnership that even Alex is talking about. Thank you so much, for Dr. Dashan, for that. And definitely collaboration is the true north. All right, fantastic. And I know we are bringing this discussion to a close. Mr. Martin Kafafa, if you can be able just to tell us how some of the practical lessons that we can learn when getting into the new markets. Probably Dashan has a product that you need to go and take to a country that maybe like if it's Ethiopia, from the media, some of the challenges, probably hurdles that were there. Yeah.
Thanks. Let me just go back to, just in terms of also answering what one of my colleagues talked about, how do you deal with competition? How do you deal with Me Too's in the market? When we started Kiss FM 25 years ago, then there were only about 5 or 6 private radio stations. And we started this station, and within 6 months, it went to number 1. Now, the learning point for me is 6 months we went to number 1. Within 1 year, we had completely dominated the FM space in the country. But my then CEO and I, we were quite uncomfortable. We were like, how do we scale? What do we do next? And then we fell down to a very common strategy that's, I think, been run by Coca-Cola and EABL. Everybody knows Coca-Cola. But the truth is, there are variants. There is Fanta, there is Sprite, there is Crest. What I'm trying to allude to is you need to build variants that compete with yourself. So as opposed to relying on the success of Coke, they came up with Fanta, Crest, you name it, and we adopted the same strategy. We could have chosen to stay with one radio station, but we decided to go to launch another station, which was Classic 105, and Classic 105 became even bigger than Kiss. So, and this strategy is called the podium strategy, where you're better off owning number 1, number 2, and number 3. And it doesn't matter, it works to your favor if, say, number 2 eats into your number 1, or number 3 comes and eats into your number 2, because at the end of the day, you're on the podium. 1, 2, 3. That way, it safeguards your business against competition and gives you time to scale and grow. So if you're going to enter a market, try and understand whether there is a need for your product or service. Once you satisfy that need, then occupy the second, 2, and 3rd tier positions.
Right, fantastic. I love the way you brought it out, understanding the need of the market and also understanding the competitors very, very well. We're actually coming to the very end of this particular discussion. Mr. Kuz, if you can be able just to chime in on that when it comes to expansion.
Yeah, so expanding across other regions, I mean, that's a difficult question, especially in the real estate industry. It's one of the industries where it's, you need to build the same model in different countries. That's how real estate works. How we did it is we partnered with our competitors. I mean, in Uganda, we are now doing a project with the Royal Group. I mean, in Kenya, we are competitors, but we partnered together, took two of our brands, and we're taking it to Uganda. I mean, and that's something we should not be afraid of. I mean, building partnerships, having good partners, as long as you're open and honest, partnerships do work. The main thing about partnerships, especially going into a new market for real estate, because real estate products are usually a lot of investment initially. So first of all, it builds, I don't know how to say the word, it gives you courage. When you have partners, it gives you courage to go to the new market. So I do believe that if you want to expand, move to different regions and things like that, find the correct partner. That's very important. One of the things that I want to discuss here is the hustle culture that we have here in Kenya. And I'll give you a few examples from just the interactions I've had with the people. I mean, Alex, I was in Addis just on Wednesday. I called Alex, and he was in Addis as well. I told him, Alex, look, there's some people here I know, just come and have dinner for us. He didn't bat an eyelid. He just came for that dinner. You never know what connections you'd make from that. Darshan, I mean, I met Darshan many years ago. After having a discussion about other things, I mean, genuinely, he told me, I had a mall coming up and things like that. He said, do you use our products in your mall? I mean, after owning so many companies, so many businesses, he's still hustling to that level. I mean, just asking me straight up. So I think that's important, and I appreciate all the members who have come to set up stalls over here from abroad and things like that. I mean, that's showing that you want to come here and you're looking to work hard towards bringing it here. So I think that's important, and as younger generations, we should not let that go. I mean, that culture.
Keep the hustle going. Always stay hungry. Thank you for that, Kuz. We want to just open the session to 1 or 2 questions in the interest of time before we can be able to bring it to a close. We know we have our team walking around with I can see one question there, a lady in a red jumper, and then I can see the gentleman at the far end. The hands are really coming. I think we should have kept it from the introductions to the Q&A. But we can start with the lady there. There's a gentleman at the very back end. The lady in red who raised up her hand. Yes. It's the microphone, yes. And the team, you can, if you have an extra mic, you can give the gentleman at the very end who had raised his hand.
Good morning, or should I say afternoon, to everybody here. Just to introduce myself, my name is Carol Radul. I'm a sports journalist by profession. Worked for 21 years with Martin Kafafa, who's sitting there on your podium. I left the Radio Africa group about 4 years ago. Hi, Martin. I'm proud to say I started the digital department. I think it was about 13 years ago. Next week, I'm launching a sports audio-visual radio station here in Nairobi. But I'm not here to talk about media. I'm here to talk about sport, which is my passion point. And the fact that, and if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, it's not a question. For me, it's an opportunity that I think as Africa we are missing. We still strongly believe that sport is something that we reserve for the weekend. When everybody leaves here this evening, we're going to watch Chan, we're going to watch cricket, we're going to watch rugby, we're going to go and do thing sport because it is something you reserve for the weekend. Yet worldwide, sport is $1 billion industry. It's not in Africa, and I ask ourselves why. Businesses like yours are what are growing sport worldwide. And I think there are opportunities in Africa, in Kenya, that we're missing. And it's not just sponsorship of sport, it's actual investment in sport, from academy systems to infrastructure. And thank you, Chandari. I think you're the only person there on the panel who's actually mentioned anything to do with sport. I actually own a tracksuit from Tuco-Kenya, which I think is fabulous. I play paddle. I'm not that good, but I do play paddle. But nobody here has actually touched on the money that Africa is missing in sport. I think somebody on the panel mentioned that we're soon going to be a world of 19-year-old Africans. Yet this continent is bursting with talent that is not developed. We suffer from unemployment in so many ways, yet we have sport that can employ people, not just people who play, but doctors and lawyers and business people and different kind of people in the industry. Right now, I am doing a research for an international foundation, probably the biggest in the world. I can't mention it because of an NDA.
Even as we proceed, I know we are very stretched on time.
I'll be quick.
Yes.
I'll be quick. There was research that was carried out by Nielsen Sport and and Pepsi that said in the next 5 years, women's football is going to be the number 5 sport in the world. Yet in Africa, we are doing nothing about investing in women's football. And we are missing these opportunities. We are happy when we win gold medals at the World Championships and the Olympics. But which are the companies that are benefiting? It's Nike, it's Adidas. Why is it not Tuco-Kenya? Why is it not Ender Sportswear? Why are we not making sure that we are reaping the benefits of what a sport industry that works can do? And I can talk on and on. I know we are pressed for time, but it is an opportunity for different businesses, if it is opportunities you're looking for, to make sport a business, not just a pastime. So I'll be around for about an hour after this. Those of you who are interested in anything to do with the investment of sport, in reaping the benefits from every single industry that is here today, there's an opportunity. So thank you. That's my comment.
All right, thank you, Carol, and thank you for also your passion on sports. We absolutely appreciate you. I used to listen to your updates on Radio Africa. All right, the gentleman at the far end, and then we had a hand. How many mics do we have? There's a gentleman at the far end. There's a lady who had raised her hand here. You can give it to the lady since you're close to her. Yes, just give it to her.
Good afternoon. This is Samina from India. I'm heading a IT solutions and services organization, about 18 years old. My question to the panel here is, a company like me trying to come to Kenya, what is your some words of advice as to how we go about? Because definitely we also have products on electrical vehicles, and I understand we are looking at green growth here. I'm at this age doing PhD in AI, so definitely I would like to bring all the AI knowledge also to this place. So some advice as to how to go about entering this market.
Right, with a touch of Dashan, yes, you can go for it.
It's fantastic, to have, someone who's got a PhD in AI. And I think my simple answer to you, and, Kuzema talked about this, was collaboration. I don't think we do enough of this in Kenya and East Africa. We were talking in the holding room as well. And my suggestion would be we have somebody in the space here. Alex, please talk to him. Please see how you can collaborate and do something bigger and better. That's really the advice I have.
Right, fantastic. Thank you for that. Question at the very back. Thank you, Dr. Dashan. Question at the very back. We'll just take 2 more questions in the interest of time and then proceed to closing the panel.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zachary Gutu, co-founder of Tunza Analytics. So like Alex, we help businesses to track their data. Tunza is an AI-driven retail intelligence platform. And my question is on fundraising and funding Africans for Africans. Because in most cases, we find that startups in Kenya go to fundraise outside. And we get that capital, yes, but the investors don't really understand the realities of Africa. So how then do Africans invest in African startups? And what is the issue there? Is it that it's not trust, like we are not trusting our own people, or us as startups need to position ourselves better to get access to this capital? And we are also currently fundraising as Tunza. So Darshan, I'd like to have a word with you after this. Thank you.
All right. And how long has Tunza been in operation?
We are early on. This is our 7th month.
Our 7th month is completely about funding. Yes, Alex, please, as a founder, you can be able to talk to the young people. Yes.
Good. Yeah. 7 months. Okay, that got me off guard. So the first thing is value proposition. I think the moment you build something and you've proven that you can sell, then and you have a story behind it, it becomes very easy to raise capital. 7 months, I'm not sure if you've already had some very good traction around that, but you have to also exercise some patience. For us, right now, we are bootstrapped onto our 11th year, and right now we have now a lot of investors coming to us, and that is because of what we've already put into it. So as an entrepreneur, make sure you have something that you are putting out there already. There's value that you've created for somebody that can be demonstrated already very clearly. Many entrepreneurs nowadays just think that you can come up with a tech thing, sounds nice, you put in AI into it, and it will just fly. There has to be very clear value proposition, and try work hard to get 1 or 2 people already on board onto it, and Darshan will sign the check.
Right. Let me just add on to that. Remember I said that Africa has a lot of untold stories, and yours is an untold story. Okay? You need to get your story told, and you will find partners. For me, what I do with young people, when they come on over and they ask for funding, my response to them has been, can I be an equity partner in your innovation? And then it becomes a win-win. But these things won't happen if your stories don't get told. And a lot of us as media are to blame. We are so huge on reporting negativity. Okay? We are so huge on reporting political unrest and destruction, but no one wants to listen to a fantabulous story like that. Let's get ourselves to a position whereby in every communication of ours, we are celebrating or reporting Africa's untapped stories. And that's the only way we are going to be an equity partner in this planet called Earth.
So I don't know if you know this, the Bora community generally, we do not go to the bank for any funding. So one of the things I advise you, and what Martin said, is just be creative in the way you fundraise. I'll just give you an example. Me and Martin, just in the holding room, we were just talking about it. He needs some furniture from one of our furniture companies. He's going to give me some ad space in his publications. I mean, just some sort of barter. So use those techniques to come to people and say, look, do this for me, and then we can do this for you. So it's not only about raising money, it's just building your brand first. Just get it out there. That's how I would take it.
I'll just add from a very clear VC perspective, and you know how obviously we invest. Look, you need to hustle hard, and I think Alex will say, look, you need to get the friends and family money in. You need to get somewhere. You need to get somewhere where you can show, look, I've got product or service proof, traction, even before you start looking at your seed round. And you know, obviously thereafter, your Series A, etc., you have the big investors to write the checks, right? Where we focus as Chandaria Capital is between the friends and family and pre-seed to seed, right? Because that's where you need the most help. We see that you have some traction, some product, you know, service proof, and then we're able to come and write in, you know, a check, come and, you know, partner and help you grow. But proof is, you know, what everybody has said, like when you create meaningfulness, when you show that you're relevant, Kitukali is not a tech business, right? it is e-commerce, yes, but the core product is not tech. And we were interested because it really spoke to something that, we said we want to, and, we want to do and we believe in. This whole, let's be original, let's be African, and how do we take a trending market, and be original. So you have to hustle hard to start with, and then the success follows thereafter.
100%. Thank you for that. And what was also coming out very, very clearly is definitely working hard, patience. I know we are so stretched on time. We'll take the gentleman at the very far end to be able to ask the question. He's been raising his hand for the last 15 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Please go for it.
Sorry for excuse my enthusiasm.
Yes.
Actually, ever since I found out that all these industry leaders are going to be here, I had this one burning question. 90% of businesses here in Kenya and in our community, I believe, including me, have this issue that scaling up, Mostly we have a business where we have individual owners and they are doing everything from purchasing to marketing to sales, and they want to scale up, go to different regions, command in the East African region, be a leader. So what strategies did you guys use and which we can implement in our businesses, maybe in a very brief, statement, which we can implement and, that can help us to go from a $500,000 company to maybe a $5 million company. Thank you.
All right, Alex, you can go for it.
One of the things I learned, I think two years ago, when we did there's a program I went through called Stanford Seed, was on mindset. Mindset is the foundation. I don't know in the audience how many of us know the amount of shares that Bill Gates owns in Microsoft. I'm not sure. So some might say 30, 40, or 100 because, he's the owner. But you'll be surprised it's less than 2%. What does this tell us? And there's an analogy that one of our professors at Stanford used. When you're starting your business, you can hug it like this. You can hold it like this. But the more it continues to grow, you realize you actually can't hold it, and finally you just have to let go. So for us to scale businesses to the levels that you're talking about, we really have to make sure we reset mindsets that you can't really have control forever, and we need to set our mindsets to build businesses that are bigger than us, that will supersede our existence. So mine is just mindset.
Right, fantastic. If there's anyone who would like to chime in on that so that we can be able to close the panel. Unfortunately, we can't take any more questions. I know we have quite a number of burning questions, but we'll need to bring this to a close. Tashan, you can just be able to chime on that, and then we can close it.
I won't actually chime in on that. I just want to I want to thank the Bora community. I want to thank Kuzema, on behalf of the panel here. It's this kind of networking that really helps you build business ideas. It's this kind of networking that helps you collaborate, and it ties into what you're saying. How do you grow your business 10 times, $500,000 to $5 million? It is by meeting, people, in sharing ideas, listening not only to us, but the thousands of people that are going to be here today. So it's just, for me, it's just to say a big thank you to Kuzema and everybody who's been involved for having us, here today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Okay, I'm being informed, Dashan, that your parents are here. All right, fantastic. Please help me appreciate Tashan Chandaria's parents. Warm round of applause. You can just wave. Thank you. We are glad and honored to have you here. All right, fantastic. We've come to the very end of the panel discussion, and thank you to the captains of industry who are here. We absolutely appreciate you. We're going to do this a little bit more differently from the very many panels that you have been able to be a panelist. We will just remain seated, and then at this point in time, I'd like to invite the director of the Royal Group of Companies, Mr. Moise Hassan Ali, to come and give us a closing remark, and then we can be able to give you a token of appreciation on behalf of the team, and then we can close it off. He has a flight to catch, all right? He has a flight to catch, all right? Thank you, but let's appreciate Mr. Kafafa with a warm round of applause. Mr. Martin, before you can leave, Mr. Martin Kafafa, if you can be able just to remain, let us take a group photo with the panel. group photo. You can appreciate us with a warm round of applause. Thank you. All right. Just briefly, for our panelists, just remain seated as Moise gives us the closing remark.
Rahim. I think I'll keep it very brief until, because if I stretch it more than, hello, I think the auditorium is going to be empty. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Africa Trade Expo 2025. This event is held under the guidance of His Holiness Dr. Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin, whose vision inspires us. He has said, never be content with ranking second in anything. In every business, every industry, every talent, every virtue, and every pinnacle of excellence, your name should rise above all. He also guides us towards the following, that the Prophet ﷺ said, being loyal to your nation is part of your faith. Let that be our standard. As we close, I begin with gratitude to representatives of His Holiness who have traveled far to grace this event, to our speakers, Mr. Darshan Chandaria, Mr. Alex Odiambo, Mr. Jaswinder Bedi, and Mr. Martin Kafafa. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, experience, and vision for Africa's future. You have challenged our thinking and inspired our action. To KNCCI and KAM, your insights have been invaluable in showing the opportunities ahead. To our platinum sponsors, EMA Advisory, Fakhruddin Properties, SMB Properties, Impala Glass Industries, Habatullah Brothers, Fairdeal Properties, Royal Group of Companies, to our official travel partner, African Quest Safaris, to all the gold sponsors, Al-Fazal Safia Limited, AT Glass Limited, Universal Multipurpose Enterprises, Multi-Cable Limited, Crystal Arc Factory, 1441 Sports and Fitness Trading, Dolphin Group, Alvard Global Trade, Sunrich Companies. Your belief in a connected, empowered, and thriving Africa makes this possible. And to you, our audience, thank you for being here to engage, question, and commit. You are the drivers of the change. Now, I want to leave you with this thought. Do business in East Africa. We are open, ready, and welcoming. Build partnerships that create impact, jobs, and knowledge. Strive for excellence in everything you do. The future of Africa trade is not something we wait for. It's something that we create. We are not just talking about Africa's potential, we are unlocking it together. Finally, and most importantly, I would like to close with prayer to Allah Ta'ala to grant His Holiness Dr. Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin Aka a long and healthy life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Moise, for that. And as Moise has said, definitely Africa is open for business. We also now want to give a token of appreciation to our panelists for their time and also for their wisdom on this discussion. And I'd like to invite Yaya Baisab from the family of His Holiness Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin to come forward and also guide us as we give the token of appreciation and making sure that we can also do it together with Moise and Kuz to assist on the same. And even as they prepare that, we just want to appreciate our panelists. Let's give them a warm round of applause. Mr. Bedi, I can listen to your podcast every morning. Lunchtime, I listen to Mr. Chandaria. And in the evening, I can be able to have a conversation with Alex. And my heart and my life will be full. These are the men that you need to have a WhatsApp group. You form it, you put them in, and you make them all admins. And I'm telling you, everything will change. All right. So we can start with the presenting it to Mr. Bedi. You can come and just bring it forward. And Mr. Bedi, you will just come to the center. You'll come to the center so that we can be able just to make sure we can be able to capture this in the photo ops. Mr. Bedi, for being a leader, for flying our flag so high, definitely we appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Bedi. And now we want to appreciate Dr. Dashan Chandaria. Let's appreciate him, a titan in the industry. Dashan, you mentor across all generations, and we absolutely appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. And now, finally, Mr. Alex Odhiambo, CEO of Solutech. Thank you. Let's make sure that we can be able to capture that particular photo. Yes. Thank you. That is a token of appreciation on behalf of the Bora community. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight. One more time, let's appreciate them with a warm round of applause. And in extension also to the Bora community, thank you so much, Moise, Kuz. We appreciate you for facilitating this. And now we want to break up for lunch. I know our VVIPs will be able to be guided at the exhibition area to be able to have an appreciation of what we have. And then thereafter, they will be able to have lunch. All right? And I will be with each and every one of you at the exhibition area so that we can be able to take this conversation forward when it comes to collaboration. Thank you, and as we say in Swahili, asante sana. Thank you.